Hi, and welcome back to this series on the nPWDMX snapshot controller. And in the last video, we took a vignette hardware that took commands through the nPWDMX and drove an nLight enabled fixture, in this case a digital Neo, driving a LED solo drive. And if I press the button there, we could see that it brought up the intensity of the light there. Now, just to review, looking at sensor view, the way we did this is looking at channel control. It was the Neo is tracking local channel 3. So I could turn it on here. We see my house lights. We're going to call these the house lights in our cafetorium. These white lights, nLight enabled fixtures, and I turn them off. So rather than having it be done from a wall station, either an nPWDM or a vignette wall station, this time what we want to do is do it from a theatrical console and trigger it with DMX on a 5-pin DMX cable. So I have my Cognito theatrical console here. I'm going to plug that into this port here on the front of the demo kit. And where does that go? Well, if we go into Passcape, we will expand the nPWDMX, and if we look at port B, we see that port B, which is this 5-pin connector on the front, is configured as an input port, and when it comes in, it transmits on universe 1. Now, why is that interesting? So if we go and highlight the root device here, there's this very special command that property that we haven't set yet, and it's called the triggers. So which trigger universe? Presently, we weren't doing any. It was disabled. I'm going to say you should be looking for commands coming on universe 1. And if we go back to Cognito, I have already configured. These are all of my DMX lights, the 16 lights on this DMX tile. And I've got a number 20 here. And if we look at the patch, we see that this fixture number 20 is going to be way out of the range of the DMX for the lighting rig, which is 1 through 48, 46, 47, 48. And number 20 is going to go a DMX slot 501. So way up out of the way. It's nothing to do with what's on the stage. It's safely out of the range, but we're going to capture that level of 501 and pump it through the nPWDMX and rebroadcast it as an nLight wall pod channel. So in preparation for that, I've recorded a handle here where I can push this up, and you see I could take my house lights to full, or if I pull it down, it will go out, hopefully. So how do we do that on the Passcape side? What we do is we highlight the wall pods. This is the red pathway arrow pushing onto the blue nLight network. And remember, we said it's wall pod channel 3, just to remember. The input of wall pod 3, this is the input device, inputting to the nLight network is the nPWDMX. So its input wall pod channel 3 is broadcasting on local channel 3, and the Neo is tracking local channel 3. So in Passcape, we now have DMX triggers. We've set that above. We now say the trigger slot is going to be 501. And we send that transaction off. And if we go back to our theatrical console now, and we raise this level here, you will see that it is pushing the intensity level of the white light, which I call the house lights. And if you have Passcape running, you can see that it's tracking at 100%, just like it is here on Cognito. So the real advantages of this is not just to have another handle to move, but you can cue this into the show. So if I press the go button here, I have the preset, and we call this the house open preset. So this is where people are coming in and taking their seats. We have dressed the set with some colored lights, and we have the house lights at full coming up from being controlled from the theatrical console. So the next cue is a blackout. So what we're going to do is take all the lights that have an intensity above 0. We're going to take them out, and then I'm going to record a new cue, cue number 2, which I'm going to label house out. And we're going to give this like a nice long 10-second fade as determined by the theatrical console. So there we go. So let's have a look at what that would look like. So we will back up into the house open cue. There we have our theatrical luminaires, and we have our nLight enabled house lights, and stage management says standby Q2 and Q2 go. And we see the nice slow fade in unison of the DMX fixtures on the stage and the house lights. So that is a theatrical console broadcasting local channels on the nLight network through the nPWDMX. Join me next time when we're actually just going to look at the mere presence of a theatrical console on the system and what you can do with that. Join me then.